ignoble, normal, abnormal. Ignoble is a wonderful word which makes me remember about the Nobel Prizes and the Ig Nobel Prizes. If you haven't heard about them, I think it's time for you to know what an Ig Nobel Prize is. It is nothing insulting, there. I am sure about the Nobel Prizes that are awarded every year, and Ig Nobel Prizes also are awarded at the same time to young and enthusiastic scientists by the Nobel laureates of that year for the wonderful but simple discoveries and experiments they have done. So, Ig Nobel, that is not noble, it is Nobel. So, Ig, it indicates the opposite, noble, ignoble, but here ignoble means something that is to be ashamed of, not noble, but ignoble is nothing to be ashamed of. Here you have used these prefixes to make the opposites, and there are some more words here. They are formed by changing the prefix, not adding a prefix, but changing the prefix. Ascend, descend, these words must be so simple to you, we can just read them once and proceed, I am sure. Encourage, discourage, export, import, exterior, interior, external, internal, increase, decrease. See, we are changing the prefix, adding something new to make the opposite. Construction, destruction, monogamy, polygamy, introvert, extrovert. So, the list can go on, but this is just an example to show you that in English you can form your antonyms by adding a prefix to some words. Well, for some words you need to change the prefix. Here is an example once again from a newspaper, just May 18th newspaper. Will domestic violence act have retrospective effect? Here the word which I want you to focus is retrospective. What could be the antonym of retrospective? I think wonderful students like you should immediately think, okay, this is a word, what is its meaning and what could be the opposite of this? If this is given to me in the examinations, how am I going to answer it? You should have that spirit, and if you have that spirit, if you read, at least now you go back home and read the first paragraph of this column, the answer is there, because the writer has used the opposite of this word while explaining the problem in the very first paragraph of this article. Will domestic violence act have retrospective effect? Retrospective, okay, it means coming into effect from the past. What is the opposite of retrospective? Let us see. This is one of the difficult words. Where the prefix retro does not merely mean reverse the existing condition, the opposite would be pro. So, the opposite of retrospective would be prospective, not anything else, and it is there in the newspaper also. That is why I am telling you, try to read your paper every day. You will be very comfortable knowing so many words which is not possible just through the keys and question banks provided to you, because here you would be reading the words in a context and you can understand the shade of meaning with which it is being used. And here is something very special. Take care of the words here. Self antonyms, auto antonyms, means how is it possible? How can one word be the opposite of itself? But it is possible in English through its development. So, if this word or such words are given in your multiple choice within a sentence in a context, you should understand the context first before identifying the antonym. You see, a few English words have one meaning is the opposite of another. The same word has two exactly opposite meanings. These words are called self antonyms or auto antonyms. or contronyms also. Let us see some examples. I am sure the first word, cleave or clip. Cleave and clip have two opposite meanings. Cleave or clip means joining things together, and opposite is separating them, dividing them. So, in which context it is being used, you must understand. Fast, fix, adhesives, you see, it tells it sticks fast, means it does not move, but on the other side it means move very fast too. And sanction, mostly nowadays you hear America imposing sanctions on some countries, but the word sanction has two opposite meanings. To give one's blessings is one meaning, and one's condemnation, restricting them, is another meaning. So, in which context, with which meaning it is being used, it is necessary for us to understand, because the same word means two exactly opposite meanings. Enjoin, to cause something to be done, is one. To forbid something from being done is another. Means from one side you are giving an order to do, from the other side the same word means that you have given an order to stop. So, antonyms in English are really a bit tough if you are not careful. Ravel, unravel, entangle. The problem is getting more entangled, the mystery is getting more entangled. Ravel has both the meanings. It is solving something and complicating something. So, such words I think you should take special care to note down and remember while answering your paper. And here are just a few examples of words which can form their opposite by just adding a letter A as a prefix. Typical, atypical, biotic, abiotic. So, it is not just DIS, MIS or IN, just by adding a letter also you can form antonyms in English. Here next we are going to see some words which form their antonyms not by changing the prefix, but by changing the suffix, the letters which come at the end of the word. Powerful, powerless, useful, useless, pitiful, pitiless, merciful, merciless, cheerful, cheerless, all with adding less. You may think this is the only thing which can be done. No. And here I want to give you some special cases, just like the auto antonyms. These words also are a bit challenging for us, and this special case, the word is indefatigable, and its antonym is not defatigable but fatigable. And what does this word indefatigable mean? Means someone who cannot get tired, one who cannot get exhausted. That is the meaning. Means a student preparing for the exams is indefatigable. A politician trying to win in the elections is indefatigable. Fatigable is exhausted. It is the opposite. So, just by removing IN, you are not making its opposite. And the antonym of the verb incline is disincline, which is arguably not a double negative, but in any case looks like one, because incline means show interest, disincline is not showing interest. I am not inclined to do something. He is disinclined to learn, not interested to learn. So, there are some words for which you should take special care, but generally it is not that difficult. Here is one more example, inflammable. Here you remove the prefix IN, which is the prefix, and what is the meaning? Flammable means the same thing. So, here even by removing the prefix, you are not making an antonym for inflammable. Inflammable means something which can burn very quickly. Flammable also means something which can burn very quickly. So, this is one more interesting example. So, do not choose the word flammable as the opposite of inflammable if it is given. And let us come to the way you should identify the antonyms. Some tips here for the examination goers, because you are always tense probably if your preparation is less, but if you know some of the tips how to prepare, your job is half done. If the word is known to you, very well, you can directly go and choose the antonym from the words given without spending much time. But in cases a word is tough, then also my sincere suggestion is, don't waste your time going on spending your time breaking your head thinking what could be the antonym, because the time in the examination is limited, the marks for all the questions are equal, and if you do not know the antonym of a word or the synonym of a word or answer for any bit, leave it and then proceed to the next part of your paper. Maybe then later, if you have time, you can come back. So, plan properly and answer your paper, but if you know the antonym, answer it. And then in some questions, a synonym of the word is deliberately given among the options. So, mostly you forget that you are here to choose the antonym. You are so much accustomed to easily identify the synonym that in the examinations what we see is many students, instead of picking the antonym, they choose the synonym. It is just out of confusion and less practice. You are not looking for a word that means the same, you are looking for the opposite, and the examiner is trying to trap you by giving you a synonym. So, you must be careful, do not fall into that trap. This is, as I have already mentioned, this is the most common mistake that students make. If you do not know the meaning of the word, the next step which you should do is try to infer its meaning by breaking it into pieces. How can you break a word into pieces? Is it a piece of paper that can be torn? No, but every word has a root. So, you must know what is the base, what is the root, and what is the prefix or the suffix and other things that are being added to bring out its meaning. Then it becomes very easy for you to guess the right meaning and go to the right word. So, knowledge of roots, prefixes and suffixes will help in finding the meaning of the word. Here I have just given you an example, antipathy. The opposite could be sympathy, but here we are not going for opposites like that. Let us see what the word means by dividing it. Anti means against, you already know that, and path means to feel. Y is a noun suffix. So, the meaning could be feeling against something, feeling of hatred. The words which we have been using, homonym, antonym. Here homo, sino, anto, these are the prefixes being used for the word nym to indicate different meanings. If you can divide words like that, automatically it becomes easy for you to guess what could be the right antonym or the synonym too. So, figure out whether the word has positive or negative connotation. This is the next step. Trying to find out the root is one tip, and trying to find out whether the word has a positive meaning or a negative meaning. As I have already said, connotation means meaning. So, if the word has un or dis or mis as its prefixes, automatically you can guess up to some extent that it could mean something negative. This will help in eliminating the wrong answer choices. So, how are you going to remove the wrong options? Trying to find out the synonym and eliminating it, trying to find out whether the word given has a negative meaning or a positive meaning, and trying to eliminate the words from the options given which have the positive meaning if the word given to you is negative, and vice versa. In this way, you will be zeroing down or focusing on one or two options from which you have to make the right choice really, then your work will be easy. For example, if the word is positive, you should look for a word with a negative connotation, because here you are going for antonyms, not synonyms.